the Daleks. Today we'll be talking about the chronological timeline of Davros and his horrific creations, the Daleks. Let us start with the genesis of Davros and the rise of the Daleks. Davros was born in the latter part of the Thousand-Year War between the Khalids and the Thals on the planet Skaro. He was the result of an adulterous relationship between Lady Calcula and Councillor Quested. He also had an elder half-sister named Yavel. It was considered a time when mercy and nobility were all but non-existent on Skaro. The harsh life was grim. The use of nuclear weapons and other agents of mutation produced mutos, who resided in the wastelands and were often used for slave labor by both the Khalids and the Thals. As a child, Davros claimed that only his mother believed in him, while others feared him and his determination. His stepfather, Colonel Nasgard, whom both believed to be his biological father, wanted him to become a soldier like his ancestors, but Davros was determined to become a scientist. At some point in his childhood, he became lost on a battlefield. A soldier named Kanzo tried to help, and he wandered across the ground covered in landmines, but was sucked into the ground by one of them. The 12th Doctor heard his cries for help and threw him his sonic screwdriver, which allowed them to hear each other. Although the Doctor had intended to help the child, when he learned that he was a younger Davros, he returned to the TARDIS and departed. Shortly afterwards, Davros heard the rematerialization of the TARDIS, and, confused and frightened, witnessed the 12th Doctor point a gun stick towards him, saying that he was trying to save his friend in the way he could, killing the handmine surrounding Davros and taking him by the hand and helping him get ready. During his childhood, he watched a propaganda television series, Captain Krog and the Highland Rangers, as did Yavel. As a child, Davros often read a book of predictions, which was written in the extinct language of the Dals. Although the book was banned by the Council of 12, he kept it in his possession for decades. Shortly after his stepfather's death, Davros joined the military youth before joining the military corps in his final year of college. In Nasgard's will, the family finances were held in trust under Davros's name, and his wife and daughter were forbidden access to it until Davros was married. Due to a connection with the senior members of the Khalid judiciary, Calcula was successful in her attempts to have the terms of the will overturned. Prior to this, she had attempted to set Davros up with the daughter of Councillor Matros, another member of the Khalid Council of 12, who belonged to the most influential and wealthy Khalid families. Davros vehemently disagreed with the ideas of his half-sister Yavel, who had become a peace activist for compromise with the Thals. As he approached his 13th birthday, he regarded the only satisfactory outcome of the war was the extermination of the Thals and the complete dominance of the Khalid all over Skaro. He was forced into the military corps and put in charge of developing new weapons and gadgets to help the Khalid soldiers. After his mother killed his father, sister, and aunt, Davros no longer had anyone to impress. In honor of Yavel's death, he and his mother commissioned a statue to house her ashes. In reality, however, Davros used her body for his genetic research. Davros' first assignment in the scientific corps was in food processing. Consequently, he learned that the pills were made not only from the waste of vegetable matter, but also the bodies of the dead. 1 month after the death of his mother, Davros was grievously wounded by a foul bombardment in his laboratory in the Khalid dome, which cost him his taste buds, left arm, and entire lower body, and left his eyes with severe damage to the point where using them would cause great pain. As a result, he was forced to spend the rest of his life confined to a mobile life support system attached to a wheelchair, and an eye-stuck wound on his forehead, giving him partial eyesight without the use of his own eyes. After he was crippled, the scientific corps gave Davros a projectile poison injector to allow him to kill himself. He kept it, but refused to use it. 30 seconds without his life support would have killed him. The life support system was controlled by a switch in the panel of buttons on his system. His chair acted like an iron lung pacemaker that it monitored and maintained his body. It did not require nourishment due to his life support system, though he did occasionally eat. After he assassinated the Supremo and the other members of the Council of 12, Davros became the de facto Khalid head of state, as their deaths left him as the most senior surviving civilian in the Khalid Dome. Davros began experimenting with organisms and teaching them to speak. In particular, he taught them to say his name. For his first experiment, he used a foul brain, that of a spy named Baron, instead of a Khalid one. With his equally ruthless aide, Nida, Davros ascended to a high rank in the Khalid scientific elite and ultimately presided over the creation of the Daleks. However, intervention by the Time Lords began a chain of events. The Fourth Doctor was sent to Skaro at this time when Davros first demonstrated the Daleks to the Khalid scientific elite. Davros imprisoned the Doctor. He used a lie detector to force the Doctor to reveal the details of the Daleks' future defeats, so they can learn from them. And so,
It's not the machines. It's the minds of the creatures inside them.
Davros refused to listen to the Doctor when he begged them to instead make the Daleks peaceful creatures for good, rather than evil exterminators they would become. Upon activation, the Daleks exterminated Nida. However, Davros soon became the next victim. I won because of the programming that he had given himself, and to exterminate all those who were not pure Dalek. He begged them, but they stated that they were incapable of doing so as he had not programmed them to feel pity. Unbeknownst to the Daleks, they had actually damaged his primary life support system. The secondary and backup circuits switched on immediately, placing him in suspended animation while his life support worked to regenerate him. A neutronic war rages on Skaro, which leads to the Daleks discovering cobalt in the Radiation Range Mountains, which they use to build neutronic bombs. They detonate the bombs, committing mass genocide to a good portion of the Thal population on Skaro, but some survive and mutate. Centuries before they embarked on a universal conquest, the Daleks on Skaro receive a message they cannot decode. They begin preparing for war footing immediately. Meanwhile, Susan Foreman borrows her grandfather's TARDIS for a short trip to Venus. Instead, she lands in Skaro's petrified jungle. She is quickly captured by the Daleks, who believe she might be responsible for the mysterious message, and taken to the Dalek city. She tries to escape, but they soon overwhelm her again, and they force her to try to decode the message by threatening not to feed her unless she helps. Susan stands up for herself and gets the Daleks to back down. They will feed her first, then she'll decode the message. They concede the point, and their admiration grows for the young girl as she talks them some more. One Dalek in particular grows fond of the young space-time traveler. He doesn't want her to decode the message, because that will mean she has to leave Skaro. Susan takes a look at the message and uses what she calls Dalek code to solve the puzzle. She begins to laugh in delight. The Daleks respond fearfully to the sound, which had never heard before. Some of them are so afraid that they topple over. Susan doesn't understand what's going on and runs off to the TARDIS. Just as she nears her grandfather's borrowed ship, she finds one Dalek waiting for her, the one who'd grown so fond of her. It begs her not to go, but she leaves anyway. In the aftermath of the departure, the Daleks keep watching for enemies until one Dalek uses the note Susan left behind to decode the message, which says, "Peace and goodwill to all." The Dalek Emperor oversees the completion of a new Dalek city. Then Dalek instruments detect a strange object arriving on Skaro, which, beknownst to the Daleks, is a spaceship. They cover the city in sand to hide it from the invaders. The ship is owned by the Katorian Kest. He sees the fortune of sand and waiting on the planet and sets his slaves to work gathering it. Realizing they are at risk of being discovered, the Emperor orders them destroyed. However, the magnetism from the Dalek city begins disrupting Kest's ship instruments, and it tells the slaves they can rest. The Emperor has them examined and learns that two slaves, Sala and Astroth, are planning a rebellion against Kest. The Emperor believes this is a chance for the Daleks to seize the ship for themselves. Meanwhile, Sala's uncle Undor betrays his niece and warns Kest. Kess instructs Andor to find the rebels and bring them before him, but Sala is captured by the Daleks while exploring outside and is nowhere to be found. The Emperor offers her help fix the problem with the ship's instruments, as Kess interrogates Astaroth as to Sala's whereabouts. Astaroth punches Andor in the face in anger before Sala reappears and tells them of the Daleks. She leads Astaroth and Kest to the city, but once they are gone, the Daleks slaughter the guards around the ship and move it to the city for study. When Kest notices his ship has gone, he threatens to kill Sala, but she and Astaroth manage to shove him and his guards off the edge of the mountain range, but Kest survives the fall. The Daleks finish their records of how the ship is constructed, but they will still do not know how to operate it. Sala and Astaroth try to sneak past them so they can escape the planet with the other slaves. Kest finds his way into the city and the Daleks capture him. He offers to show them how to fly the ship if they will find and kill the rebels, with no intention of keeping his word. Sala and Astaroth evade the Daleks and reach the ship just as Andor is found cowering within. He shows the Daleks the papers detailing how to operate the ship. At that moment, Sala, Astaroth, and the slaves take off and smash a hole in the roof of the Dalek city. Kest, Andor, and several Daleks are killed in the blast, but the Emperor sees it as no consequence. They now have all the information they need to begin the construction of their own spacecrafts, allowing them to begin the conquest of the universe. But sadly, due to a shortage of materials, the Daleks are forced to use the Mark I traveling machine prototype, which can only run on metal. And, as a result, the Daleks that get to go on the space expeditions were ones that were the original Mark III travel machines and several modified Mark I travel machines, while the ones that are Mark I but cannot move on nothing else but electrified metal are forced to stay behind and, well, do their science thing.